Hi everyone, I'm Kelsey. I'm a librarian here at the AHD Regional Library, and I have a very special guest for us today, local author Carmen Cucinotta. Thank you so much for being here today, and if you could start by telling us a little about yourself and about your book.
Thank you, Kelsey. It's a pleasure for me to be here today. This came to me, later on in life. I started writing the manuscript for this book at age 62. I'm a little bit older than that now, but I thought it was important to talk about the Lowcountry of South Carolina and for children to read it or have the book read to them. And I thought it was important to actually emphasize a couple of points which are subtly mentioned in the book. Things like friendship, accountability, watching out for someone else other than you, and also to kind of give the reader a frame of, removing themselves from where they are in their comfort level. So that is Augie, one of our main protagonists, who's an alligator, for him to leave the Great Swamp of South Carolina. So we talk about the Great Swamp in the book a little bit, and so it kind of gets Augie out of his comfort zone, and also for Vroom Vroom, who's our convertible car character, to kind of explore new horizons coming from a different country. So I thought all of these things intertwined, I thought would give some value to the reader, but in a subtle type of manner.
Absolutely. And I can see that through your book, and it's so heartwarming, and I think that the unlikely friendship and the local spots that you see throughout the book were my favorite part. Seeing, things in Savannah and the swamp and all that is very familiar, and that was personally one of my favorite parts of the book.
Thank you. Thank you.
What inspired you to write this book, and in a setting, did you grow up in the area? Is that what?
No, actually I did not. I'm from southern New Jersey. So we're Philadelphia sports fans. Go Eagles! We're fairly recent here. We've lived here full time a little over 4 years, and we love the area. We vacationed here quite a bit over the 10 years prior to moving here full time, and knew that this would be our place. One of my main inspirations for the book is our daughter, Christina. Christina, early on when I bought Vroom Vroom, which ironically is my car that I drive every day.
Oh, wow.
Vroom Vroom's out in the parking lot right now. She took the car over to the island to work out at a fitness facility that she liked to go to and had a membership. And she said, "Dad, this car's got a lot of vroom vroom." And I thought to myself, and I was working remotely at the time, I said, that's a great name for a children's book, but what am I going to do with it? What am I going to pair this car, Vroom Vroom, with? And another inspiration came to me from living here was the alligators. Everyone, now especially those of us from the Northeast, we've not encountered alligators ever before.
Right.
And I personally found a fascination with alligators. So I figured, well, that'll be my second protagonist, and we're going to give him the name of Augie, and it's going to sound Italian, although whether he is or not, it's immaterial. And I would put them together and basically form the lifetime bond and friendship and accountability like I mentioned before. So, but really my daughter, Christina, is really the impetus behind the book.
Right.
And so that basically led to making notes and developing a formal manuscript.
Right.
And then working with my illustrator. Shout out to Michael Branson. Michael is a retired account executive, IT executive with Verizon. And is one of the most artistic and creative people I've ever met in my life.
That's great.
He actually did the illustrations that you see in the book.
That's amazing.
And for someone to have that kind of talent is incredible. I give a lot of credit in the book to him. Because I think the images are captivating, and for the adult readers and even kids, that they'll see things like Savannah. They can assimilate a toy store in the book as well. So those type things, I think he did a great job pulling out of the manuscripts that I gave him.
Right,
so.
That's amazing. Making those connections with local spots and things in your life to really inspire you to make that story. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Now, with unlikely friendships and friendship accountability that you were speaking of, were there any childhood books that you read that inspired those kinds of messages in you as a kid?
Yes, there were. And again, part of the inspiration behind this book was reading books to our daughter pretty much every night before bedtime. And that continued for years. One of the main authors that really influenced a lot of, I think, what you see with this book is an author by the name of Richard Scarry. Richard Scarry wrote over 100 children's books. I was fascinated with his characters. And you can see the lowly worm, for example, one of the most popular characters of those books, with his Bavarian-style hat and just a cute character. Other characters in that series of books were just so cute to me.
Yeah.
And you saw those type of friendships, with the cats and with the other characters, and I can't really recall them at the moment, but other than Lowly Worm, who was my favorite, obviously. But you saw that, and that impressed upon me, and a lot of that in reading to Christina was, I'm going to kind of mold that idea, and not specifically Richard Scarry's work, but kind of conceptually what he looked to do, and I wanted to do the same.
To make impacts on other kids.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
And children's literature is so important and so formative for the kids who read it and for the authors who write it. Can you tell me a little bit about the challenges in writing this book and maybe the most rewarding part?
Yes. The challenges are being a first-time author. Obviously, there were budgetary challenges. With any first author, this is true. What I found was the life cycle of taking the book from manuscript form and having it copy edited, proofread. I have my sister Ann Hank, who lives in New Jersey, and my wife's business partner Laura McHugh are both former educators. So they were very instrumental in proofreading the book, kind of going over syntax and grammar and so forth. And so they were very valuable to the book. And they said basically everything looks good, we need maybe a couple changes here or there. And then going actually to the publisher, and I self-published this book. And the life cycle there took some time, back and forth with copy edit, then incorporating the illustrations from that Michael was doing simultaneously. So the whole genesis of the book from my initial pen to paper and to publication was about 2 years. So what I thought would be a very quick and easy process turned out to be lengthy, more lengthy. And again, first time author, didn't really know the ropes, so book 2, hopefully coming out at the end of the year, will be a little bit easier because I've gone through it.
Right.
Most rewarding probably was the initial kickoff of the book. We're into the larger online outlets that are selling the book. And the first several months, it was hugely popular. And I have the publishing company to thank, Maitland Press down in Maitland, Florida, to thank for that. And they were great in positioning it correctly with searches on Google and so forth. So that to me was very rewarding to see now my work, coming to fruition it actually now taking its own life form.
Right.
One other thing I wanted to mention, and this was a very cute encounter that I had, again, very rewarding. I had a encounter with some of our neighbors who had their grandson visiting for a period of time. And I was going to work one morning and pulling Vroom Vroom out of the garage, and the grandson, a very cute child, stood motionless on the other side of the street. He raises his arms and he said, "Vroom Vroom."
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, yes, it is. So Grandmom and Grandpop said he is infatuated with cars and he loves alligators.
So the perfect book for him.
And it's just the perfect book for him. And they had purchased it for him and they had read it to him. But for him to see the likeness of Vroom Vroom,
the character,
there really brought it all full circle.
That's amazing.
And to me, I was almost at a point of being choked up. I was very touched by that.
Yeah.
And that was just the coolest thing. And we get comments, from grandparents and parents and aunts and uncles, when is book 2 coming?
Right.
Because, my grandchild or my niece or nephew or whomever can't wait to continue to follow the adventures of Vroom Vroom and Augie. So that's that, and again, that's rewarding to see that people are so engaged by this little 20-page book.
Absolutely.
They can't wait to see book 2
That's
and
amazing.
book 3.
Yeah.
So that's very rewarding as well.
That's amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. I think it's so interesting because I do think a lot of people underestimate children's literature and how detailed you have to be in writing that story and the hurdles that you found with that. And then you seeing those rewards afterwards and seeing how much of an impact you made on those kids because you took the time and you went through those hurdles.
Yeah.
That's
it
amazing.
was and again, that was just so rewarding. The amount of children's books and children's book authors is really unlimited. There are tons of children's books, and I wanted to write something a little bit different. Again, it's a children's fantasy book, and I just thought it would be fun to. I never remember seeing an alligator driving a convertible before, and also when we come to libraries and we did a very successful book read here, and we had about 38 children, and it was fun to watch them how engaged they were. Now, it could have been the prizes that we were offering at the end to listen for certain cues that I was talking about in the book, and if they answered them, they got a prize. Maybe it was that. But it was just fun, and then get the questions about how did you start this? Are you famous? That was one of the funniest questions. Are you famous? I said, not exactly, but thank you. So that was kind of cool, and it was just things like that that just gave me the impetus to really go to the next level.
Right, and actually write
and do it again.
That's amazing. Yeah. Do you have any advice for anyone who's wanting to write a child's book or children's book?
Yes, and actually I'm working with 2 individuals right now who I've gotten to know. One is a neighbor and one is a co-member in Chamber of Commerce with me. And one is writing a children's book. The other is writing a self-help type book.
Okay.
And more or less talking about the semantics of how this is supposed to go. And that's been kind of fun for me. It's basically taking my knowledge and my experience and kind of guiding them as they go down that journey.
Right.
So that's been kind of fun. I'm having a good time with that. So we'll see how they both do on those.
That's awesome. That's amazing. So you shared that you are writing a book too. Is there anything you can tell us about this book? Any?
Yes.
Amazing.
I can tell you a little bit.
A little bit.
So we're going to introduce a third protagonist.
Amazing.
This protagonist will be quite an interesting character. I think she'll add quite a bit of levity to the book. They'll continue adventures. More or less, I can share this a little bit. up the South Carolina shoreline. And we'll make a couple unique stops in some places that I think not only the children will be fascinated with, but I think, you know, parents and guardians and others who may read to them would find interesting as well. So that's book number 2. We're about halfway through the manuscript phase on that. Michael has already started working on some preliminary artwork for that book. And we're hoping to wrap it up by year end. So
that's amazing.
It should be out.
That's so exciting.
It's fun.
So everyone has to read book 1 before book 2 comes out.
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, you do. Yes,
And
you do.
if you could tell everyone at home, if you could sum your book up in one sentence to really make them want to read it.
Just, you know, it's fun. It's you know, it's exciting. There are chapters in there about, you know, our great, you know, thunderstorms that we have here in the Lowcountry, and, you know, how they deal with that. So it's, you know, it's talking about that. It's talking about adversity and things like that. I think the main thing is really to get an education about the Lowcountry, about, you know, learning about, you know, one-on-one, you know, personal relationships and friendship and all that kind of stuff. And really learning about, you know, seeing the sights and sounds of Savannah and the Lowcountry and the Great Swamp. What's that, you know? So it's things like that that I think fascinate, I hope, a lot of readers, and to gain more interest and knowledge about that.
That's amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming and talking with us.
Thank you, Kelsey.
Everyone at home, the author himself is reading his book in Estill Public Library on September 12th at 11. So you'll have to come to Estill and hear the book from the author himself. It's going to be a lot of fun, and maybe prizes involved.
There will be there will be prizes.
That's
I
amazing.
can't disclose what they are, but there will be prizes involved. Yes.
We are so excited.
Thank you.
And again, thank you for coming out, and thank you everyone at home for tuning in. Make sure that you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel to find out all the fun stuff that's happening in your library. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.